Oh, let's see. Let me make sure. Okay, I think we're live. I think we're live. Let me just double check on my phone because we love technology over here. It did say something about waiting for permission. So let me just make sure everything looks good.
Somebody asked me if I'm on yet. I'm going to say yes. Now we are.
Let's see. Yay! We made it. Okay, I do see it. So let me share it to my page. Do you want to share it to your personal page?
Yes. How can I go share it real quick?
So yeah, if you go to the One Right Effort Facebook page and then there should be a link to share, then you could share it to your personal. That way if people can't find it on that page, they'll be able to find it on there.
Oh, she's asking me what it is. I'm say One Right Effort. Okay, I'm going to try to share it. I'm going to go back to Facebook now. Someone's texting me. Okay, I am going to the One Right Effort Facebook, right? Oh, she says I'm there. Does she see
Yeah,
us? Oh, I see us.
I see one people join, but I think that's from my phone. So we'll,
Or
we'll
maybe
see. We'll see them in a second.
I see us there now.
Okay, yeah, I
Well,
see two people.
click on, how do I share that? Like, I don't see a link to share it. I'm following. It's there now.
Okay, yeah, I see two people.
Click on, how do I share that? Like,
It should be a way to share it. Is it
I'm
not working?
following. It's there now. Okay, yeah, I see two people. Click on.
I hear us in the echo.
I'm getting the feedback because I'm on there.
Oh no, you're good.
Okay, I am going to try to share this and get out of here so that we don't get this feedback. I turned off my speaker on there.
In the echo.
I'm getting the feedback because I'm on there.
Oh no, you're good.
Okay.
If it doesn't let you right now, you can later if you want.
Oh, there we go. I'm getting the feedback because I'm on there.
Oh no, you're good.
Okay.
If it doesn't let you right now, you can later if you want.
Oh, there we go. I'm getting the feedback because I'm on there.
Oh no, you're good.
Okay.
If it doesn't let you right now, you can later if you want.
Oh, there we go. The feedback because I'm on there.
Oh no, you're good. If it doesn't let you right now, you can later if you want. Hello, everyone. We're just working through some technical stuff, of course. So we will start in a couple seconds. Thanks so much for tuning in today. We definitely appreciate your support. We're just working through some technical stuff.
Okay. I think I've shared it.
Good. Awesome. So, hey everyone, my name is Kendra Atkins, and I'm the creator of One Right Effort. The purpose of One Right Effort really is to just showcase and shine light on badass individuals, just people living out their everyday passions, putting their best foot forward really in whatever aspect of business, art form, or just life in general that may be. So that's exactly what today's guest is doing for sure. Can guarantee it 100%, signing off on it. So Dawana is one of my longtime mentors, and we can possibly get into how we met, but honestly, just one of the most bubbly, energetic people that I know. I know people say like my laugh is infectious, but I think she definitely has me beat for sure. She's a two-time author and a business owner of two businesses, which we'll be discussing today. Which are Courageous Me and then Antidote Natural. So I'm super excited to talk about both of those. So if you guys can please give me a warm, help me give Miss Dawana a warm virtual welcome. We're so happy to have you today.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to be here, Kendra, and thank you for having me on the podcast today. I'm so honored. So thank you.
Nice. Yeah. So just how's it going?
Actually, it's going great. You know, coming out of the pandemic, it's been totally crazy. But I always remind myself to whom much is giving, much is required. So all great things for sure.
For sure, for sure. So what's, I guess, kind of new? I know we've been in contact, but anything like what's new? Any plans for the weekend? All that good stuff?
Sure. So what's new? Any plans for the weekend? Well, well, I have my corporate job, so that's part of why we were delayed a little bit. I was working on some work stuff too, and then I had to get this set up on my computer, of course. So I have my corporate job, and then this week it's my birthday on Monday, so I'm hoping to do some birthday stuff, but I have to do some corporate projects that I'm working on. So I write for one of our groups that I'm affiliated with that work. I'm the editor for them. So I'll be working on that this weekend, but hopefully I can get some birthday celebrations in this weekend. But for sure next week, I am going to be taking a trip. Where yet? I don't know. Everybody keeps asking me that. I'll decide.
Surprise, right?
Whoever has like the best deal going, like at that moment, it's totally like throw a dart.
For sure.
I'm going there.
Yeah, you're super spontaneous, so that is definitely
yeah.
true.
It's really
Okay.
great.
So birthday, what's your like all-time favorite birthday dessert? I don't know, are you like a cake person or what would that be?
So my all-time favorite birthday dessert. So I'm not a big sweets eater, interesting enough. I do crave candy once in a while, but I do like making desserts actually. So if you've been to my house, I like making desserts. It's one of my things that I like doing. So if you're blessed enough to eat with me, I like making them. But if I'm going to have a birthday dessert, I don't mind having a cake with some cream cheese icing on it. So that's
That
always
sounds
the
yummy.
winner. But yeah,
Yeah, I'm
all good.
definitely like a cream cheese frosting person. I'm not a fan of the whipped, all that.
Man,
Yeah.
you can't have it too sweet. Yep.
Right. Well,
Yep, yep,
nice,
yep.
nice.
Mhm.
So yeah, once again, just thank you. First, if you don't mind, we'll talk firstly about your first business, which is Courageous Me, and then kind of after that, we'll segue into the second one, which is your most newest one, the Antidote Naturals, just natural products. So first, with the Courageous Me. This company, which I just learned today, I'm like, man, I need to do a better job of getting to know my interviewees before I get started. But it encompasses healthcare consulting and publishing. Like, why these two things specifically?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So Courageous Me was born it was a very interesting time. So it started off with me doing consulting way back in the Midwest before I moved here. So after I got my advanced degrees, I was like, okay, I need to put those into use. And so I started off doing consulting with those for different corporations and healthcare organizations. So I started off consulting with that. And so I keep that going along with some other healthcare consulting things that I do from time to time if I have clients that I work for, and some change management type stuff that I do. And then the other part of Courageous Me involves publishing. And so, as you mentioned from the start, I am a two-time author, children's book author. That's like my passion. So I always say for some reason, I think I can kind of get into the mind of a child. I don't know why, but I enjoy writing the children's books. It's become kind of like my little thing. And so that's the other part of Courageous Me. So right now we have two books out working. Actually, book number 3 is completed. It just needs to be published. I just don't have time because I have so many other things that are going in between my day job and my other stuff. So not enough hours in a day.
For sure, that is definitely true. With the two books, the first one, Courageous Me, what inspired that, or can you tell us like a little bit, like a sneak preview? Don't give too much away.
Yeah, so for sure. So the first book is called Courageous Me, Everything's Going to Be All Right. So that book was born out of my background, having grown up as a foster child. And it was sparked by a conversation with my foster parents. They were like, you know what, Dewana, this would be a great way for you to kind of talk about your life a little bit. So it was a way for me to give back. And so I can remember as a child, all the people who would touch me in the system, I wouldn't know who these people were, what their
Mhm.
respective roles were, and all of the things that would happen. And that would create a sense of anxiety, a sense of being, just a little bit nervous about all of these things that would be taking place. So this book aims to help children in a way that's kind of unique. And it's kind of cool because the book is it's a color book, hand drawn by my college friend's daughter, and it's an opportunity for Black children to see the kids who look like them in the book. So
Mm.
that's kind of a neat spend on this book. But it talks about like, you know, the different people who touched children who are taken away from their homes and from their biological families, if you will.
Nice. That's definitely, I just think like something that not too many think about, or too many people who haven't been like directly impacted, like think about. So, but it's, something that's for sure needed because those kids who are impacted are in the system, and even some of them that fall through the cracks, like they kind of just think they're alone. So when they pick up your book, they're able to really feel like, hey, like this happens to more people than just me. So definitely needed for
For
sure.
sure, that's the goal. I will just tell you one of the things that really touched me with the book, and one of the neatest things that happened was last year I was like going through like the printing house to see like, you know, and they had like sent me a royalties check. And I don't make a whole lot of money on Courageous Me. That's never been the goal for that particular book.
Hmm.
And somebody placed an order for the books from Japan.
Wow.
Okay. So that really touched me that like someone was buying these books from Japan, which I thought was like the neatest thing ever, that somebody would be buying those books in Japan.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like you never
Yeah,
think your impact when you're writing it. You're like, oh, okay, like this is just a way. It's almost like a therapy, also like just getting your story out. But then you're like, oh my gosh, this is able to touch lives all across the world. So that's super super cool.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah. With the other one, Bonnie B and Me, right?
Yes, that's
So
correct.
so that one is the first book of a series. And do you want to talk a little bit about that one?
Sure. So Bonnie B and Me is just a fun little book about a little boy and his dog. So it's loosely based on my son and his dog, now two dogs. So the first book is called Bonnie B and Me, and it's about a little boy and his dog, and how his dog is like his friend, and all these. This dog does all these fun, cool things, and the dog listens to him and not the mom, which is me in this case, kind of loosely, right? And the neat thing about this book is that it shows like how kids can have leadership and how kids can be really good at something, and maybe parents, you can be okay at it, but you may not be as
Mm.
good as your kid at something, even at a young age. Kids can, you know, show leadership and they can be really good at something. So the book teaches responsibility. It teaches so many different really good principles, I feel, and I think, and the reviews on it have been really good. And it's all about a boy and his dog. And so the goal is to have a 5-part series. The next part is called Bonnie B and Friends, and it's already done. Bonnie B and Friends has an
Nice.
interesting twist. Given everything that we've had going on in our society, the interesting thing about animals is they're kind of like children. They really don't care who people are. I'll just give you that nugget. They enjoy each other no matter what. How's that?
Mm, I like
Mhm.
it. I'm thinking my wheels are turning. So I'm like, yeah, for sure. That's
Yeah.
nice. Definitely also sounds like it's very much needed in what's going on in the world right now. So,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I feel like anything you would write would be needed, right? So I think you write with purpose, and I feel like that's also a reason why you're able to kind of impact the people that you have.
Yes, so for sure, the goal for everything that I write, as you stated, it's always to write with purpose or with intention. And every book that I write, I want it to have a message, right? A subtle
Mhm.
message for everybody who picks it up. I want that book for everyone to say, "Wow, that was for me," or they to feel like it's really personal to them, like they got something out of it, and for everybody to like it. And I can remember just with Bonnie B and Me, going to my son's third grade class at the time and reading the book, and how the children just all like, oh, I just love this book. And they were all
Mm.
so into it. They all could just see themselves in that little book. And so I hope that everything that I write, people feel that and that kind of energy and take a hold to it. That's my goal for everything that I put out.
Nice. Like for the process, I guess, of creating and then also kind of segueing into the publishing side of the business, what does that, I guess, process look like? Do you have like any specific I don't know, area that you go to write, or like time of day, or is it just whenever it flows, or how does that what does that look like?
So that's a very good question. So I can remember a couple years ago, a blogger wanted to interview me on Vonnie B and Me, and she was asking me, "Do you ever get writer's block?" And the
Mm.
answer to that is no. And the reason I tell people that I don't get writer's block is because I never write when I don't feel it. Okay, so
Oh,
I tell people I have two sides of my brain here. I have a scientific side and I have a creative side, right? And so when that creative energy is flowing, it flows. And so when it flows, I let it flow and I work with it. And I can sit down and write a whole book at one time, probably 300-400 pages, okay, at one
wow.
time. And literally, I have stuff that is just sitting in archives, but it has to flow. So I never force my mind, my soul to give up something that it doesn't want to give up. So it's so important that we work with ourselves and not against ourselves in life. And
Mm.
so what that process looks
Mic drop right there.
yes, yes, mic drop for sure. We have to work with ourselves and not against ourselves. And so a lot of times I feel that for me, not getting the writer's block is because I try to flow with myself and not against myself. And so
Mm.
the best times for me to write I've found is that interesting is when I'm sitting by water. So when I go away next week sometime on my little excursion, wherever that is, it's going to be by water undoubtedly somewhere. And I'll just sit there and I'll write. And so I can just write, just it'll just flow more than likely. But if it doesn't flow, I won't force it. I'll just relax and just take up
Mm.
God's beauty and just, enjoy the place or wherever I'm at. So that's how things come to me, and that's how I write.
Nice. And kind of transitioning from that, um, what I guess has been the process or like any challenges that you face like working because you've helped not you've published two books now on your own, but you've helped several people kind of publish their own works. What has that process looked like for you?
Sure. So when publishing your own works is one thing, right? Because that becomes like your baby. But when you're
Mm-hmm.
helping someone else to publish their work, it's a whole different dynamic, right? Because now you want to help them be successful. The way that I've helped people publish in the past has looked different than what I'm doing now. So now I'm getting more into Courageous Me is really publishing for people. So what that looks like essentially is people bring me in and I consult with them and I walk them through the whole publishing process. And I talk to them about, okay, here's what this looks like from basically from nuts to bolts, from A to Z, walking them through the publishing process, which is a very involved process. It takes a while to go through the publishing process, right? And so I walk them through that, and I have to read their work, right? And I have to critique their work, and talk to them about, here's where things look really good. Here's a blind spot that I think you should be aware of with your work. And so it's very refreshing for me because I love to see people succeeding and doing the things that set their souls on fire.
For sure. Has there been kind of in your experiences with that, has there been anybody like that has given you any pushback? Because they're like, what's the word? It's like, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about about my stuff. So has there anybody been giving you any pushback or any kind of negative experience that you've had on that?
So that's a good question. So actually, no. I actually, when I work with them, I don't really change any of their art form because you're
Mm,
right. It is an art form, right? And so people have their art form that's unique to them and they need to own that, right? They need to own that. So where I try to come in is I try to hone in and say, okay, try to be the voice of their listener or their audience. Okay, if
mm,
this is your target audience, this is how this may sound. Here's where you might want to tee this up just a little bit better for that target audience, that type of thing. Or in my experience, this is how I've seen this work better. And so people are usually very receptive to that feedback and that coaching, and it has reaped very good results. So yes, for sure.
nice.
But I never changed their artistry because as a creative soul, having children who are creative souls, I get it. When you have that art form, it's personal. It's very
Hmm.
personal, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
So now we'll segue kind of into the next section, which is going to be talking about your newest baby. Well, actually, I wouldn't even say your newest because you have so many things in the works. So,
Yes.
which is great.
Yeah.
But we'll segue kind of into Antidote Naturals. What is Antidote Naturals? Just for the listeners who don't know.
Yeah, so thank you. So Anecdote Naturals is a natural products company that I founded actually a couple years ago. And it was born out of a breast cancer scare that I had myself. Okay.
Wow, I did not know
So,
that. So I'm
yeah,
learning
so
today
I
as well.
had so I had a breast cancer scare myself that was not breast cancer. So thank God for that. So let me go on
Mhm.
record and just say that it was not. And so, but it was enough to make me say, okay, what can I do to affect my own health in a positive way? So there are a couple things I can do. I can affect what I put in my mouth, and I can affect what I put on my body, right? So our skin
Mm.
is our biggest organ, right? That covers us. And so the one thing that I started looking at right away is the deodorant. Okay. So um, I have a minor in chemistry, undergrad is in psychobiology or neuroscience. And so I kept on thinking like, you know what, I'm all into making stuff and doing all this stuff. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to start making my own deodorant. So I started buying it from the store, and then finally I was like, yeah, I can make my own. So I started making it, and the rest is history. So then I started making candles, and I started making body oils, and I started making shampoo and body wash and soap and beard oil and beard balm and hair oil. And here we are with Anecdote Naturals. And so the product line just keeps growing and growing. And yeah, so that's where I'm at right now with it.
Nice.
All from my kitchen.
And I love the fact, like, sometimes two things I want to say from that. Like, sometimes it takes, I guess, a negative or a fearful experience to really like catapult us into a purposeful experience. So, I mean, some people, like, you had the option, like you had the choice to say, "Hey, I had this scare, like let me not do anything about it," or you had a way, or that you had the choice to say, "I'm gonna try to positively affect my life in XYZ manner," right? So, kind of that the first one, like, just kudos to you for taking that the right path, right? Like, you could have just sat back and said, "Oh, like I'm gonna continue like doing this." So, um, I think it's kind of just interesting the way God works sometimes in our lives. And then for sure, like, I love the fact that you were able to put like like two of your passions. You said, you're left-brained and right-brained, but this is really a way for you to kind of mesh those two together. Um, so I can just like imagine you like mixing stuff together in your kitchen. Um, I guess how I how has that experience, I guess, been for you, just like the creative process of, trying to tie these two? Because you are an artist, and then like the whole chemistry aspect. So, like, what does that look like?
Oh, it's so rewarding. Like, okay, so recently I was home like a month ago, and I went to one of my friends. They had a brunch for her birthday, and she was talking about one of her businesses that she has and how this business has grown, and they had to take the manufacturing outside. And I was like, oh my God, I can never not imagine manufacturing my own stuff, you know? And she's like, Dee, you may have to, just if you keep growing now, do you understand? You may not be. I'm like, oh my God, I just can't. She's like, let me just tell you, you might only be able to manufacture one of those items going forward. I just could not get that in my head because I get so much satisfaction, especially out of the scents. Like
Mm,
making the scents for things, like mixing the scents up is like a huge thing for me. And like the smells, and like I'm obsessed with the fragrance oils. I buy them from all over the world. Okay. Like I'm obsessed with that part of it. Like I cannot even tell you how obsessed I am. Like it's like an obsession. Okay, it's like an obsession. Like I can't fathom not doing that part of it. Like it's just, and then I'm also obsessed. I'm a perfectionist. So like I'll make a product and I'll like make another iteration and another iteration and another iteration and another iteration because I want it to be perfect. Like
right.
the deodorant has been made over like 10 times already. Okay. My candles have been, I make my own candle wax. So all I buy is like a base soy, and then I mix up all this other stuff because I have the background to do it, right? And I've played with
Hmm.
it for so long to perfect it. Um, so much so because my daughter, she works for me part-time too, and she's like, Mom, you need to do this right at this so that we can make it for you too, and blah blah. And I'm like, that's part of my recipe here.
Like, I'm taking it to the grave.
This is like part of the excitement with it, right? And so that's the thing that I love, that whole creative piece of it, and just to see. And then when people say, "Oh, I love this candle," and like I made candles for this big group on Facebook back in the spring. They placed a big order, and it was just huge. And the ladies sent me so many messages, and they loved the candle and they loved the scent, and I just love the fact that I made something that people can just really like that. I'm just like, that just.
See, this is giving me so much life because this is like the second time I've heard this story, and I promise you all, like this, she was just as passionate over the phone, like telling me this thing like that she is now. So that's like, this just gives me affirmation that I like, this is what I love doing, like just hearing people's stories, why they got started, and just seeing like that passion that that each person exudes when they talk about like whatever it is they're passionate about. Were you guys all, or was Antidote Naturals affected at all by like the pandemic, or did that put any kind of damper on sales or just the
Oh yeah, for
process? Or
sure. Yeah, for sure. Like most small businesses, very much affected by the pandemic. So a lot of our business early on came from farmers markets, right? We would go to the farmers market and present on the weekends, and which is very laborious, a lot of hard work to go set up and all of that. That's where initially a lot of our business came from. And then we got more into e-commerce, and our e-commerce started taking off. But then with the pandemic, both were hit very, very, very hard. So we started to see a recovery, and then it started to slow down a bit. And so I think I'm noticing that there's a cycle to the business, because I think as the summer months, things cycle a little bit. But that's okay. I think that's just trying to understand the flow and everything of it. But overall, I'm pleased with how things are going for Anecdote. And I think the best is still to come.
Did you guys do anything specifically, since I guess most of your market was like at the farmers market, or most of your business came from that? Like, did you guys have to do anything strategically to kind of like change anything, or?
Yeah, so like I said, we started we started marketing to some specific groups, like the one group who we sold a lot of the candles to. That was like a group that's online. We did that, and so our e-commerce picked up. So that's been really good. So even now I could do more farmers markets, but now I'm trying to only do them once a month, because they're so labor intensive and it takes a lot. And I wear my kids out doing them on the weekends. They have to come and help me. Usually I'm like, hey, come along here. So I'm trying to back those down a little bit more. But early on, we were really counting on those a lot, especially like during the pandemic a lot. And that's the way people were getting out a lot, I think, during the pandemic too, is the farmers markets and things like that. But all of that suffered definitely early on. But I think we're definitely going through a recovery period right now. So we're very thankful and grateful for that.
Nice. Speaking of like just thankful and grateful, like this business, Antidote Naturals, gives back to charities. I guess what was kind of the purpose behind that? What is that process? Do you give like specific charities, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. So everything that I do, I feel it's important that I give back, right? So for Courageous Me, everything that we do, the sell of everything that we sell, a portion of our sales goes to charity. So one of our dogs is a emotional support dog animal. And so there's an organization that does nothing but help people with emotional support animals, training them, making sure that they're available for people. And so we give money to them. A portion of the sale from all of our books goes to that organization. With Anecdote, likewise. So with Anecdote, the goal is we started our foundation, and it's to give money to foster children and also to women who are in shelters. I feel the need that anything that helped me, I want to be able to help other people. So it's all about paying it forward, giving back to people. And so it's making sure that there are scholarships available, helping people who are in need. So yeah, a portion of the sale from anything that we do goes to charity. And so for the foster care and for the women's shelters, there's so many, and there's no end to what we can do. So
for sure,
yeah, people apply and we help them.
Nice. Awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah. I definitely feel like you've always been, that's like always been your character, to give back. And I just remember, like, I'll give you guys a quick story of how Dee and I met.
Oh Lord.
So, so back in college, I was at the supermarket, and I I don't even know. I think maybe like we were like close by, or maybe she just came up and invited me to church, and then I just remember like you all were so kind and like making sure we were fed at church, getting us McDonald's afterward, coming to pick us up, take us back. So you've always, had that spirit of giving. So definitely appreciate that for sure.
Always, I feel like it's just always important that we're giving back to people. And so everything that any business that I will ever own, or anything that my name is on or that I own, is going to always be giving back in some capacity, for sure. Yeah.
Nice. Alrighty, so let's see here. Kind of just some more general questions. How do you find balance? Just like being your full-time job, your businesses, being a mom. How do you find balance in everything?
That's a great question. So today I was, actually yesterday I was reading this article, or this post by Tiffany Dufu. I just love her. She used to work for for Oprah, and she's a writer. And I had the privilege of meeting her at a writers conference that I went to in New York City like 3 years ago. And she wrote this whole post about women, but in particular Black women, and the burden and all the stuff that we tend to do. Like, and she talked about like how a lot of us are working in corporate America. We are business owners, and we're moms, and we're braiding hair, and we're doing all these different things. And sometimes it is, and she's like, if you're going to bet on someone, bet on us. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like it's just crazy. Like, so to find balance, I have to meditate, to be honest with you. I spend time meditating. There are days, like especially on the weekends, where I'm like, okay, D, you're not doing anything today. You know what I mean? Like, the older I get, the more I realize that the times when I need that downtime, right? Where I just say, okay, you're not going to do anything today. You're not doing anything for Anecdote. You're not doing anything for Courageous Me today, because you don't want to go insane. So
Yeah.
like, well, okay, take some breaths in. And then now, of course I have It Is In You, which is under Courageous Me, right? The affirmations that I send out to everybody. And this past week, my phone broke, right? So my screen was cracked. So I couldn't like do my emails, my work emails. And I'm like, oh, I'm out in the field and I'm feeling lost. It was insane. But I had to go back to my own affirmations and be like, okay, you're going to, take some breaths. You're going to relax and realize everything's going to take care of itself, and it's going to be all good. So I have just found it very important, the older I get, to protect my space of quietness, this whole space that I need of, not today. Today I'm not being a therapist. Okay. Today I'm not being a therapist, because I'm a lot of people's therapist, but not today. Today I'm not offering any therapy services. So you just have to know when enough is enough. You know what I mean? So I'm learning that we all have a limit. And I have a saying that I like to say, that even vehicles get totaled, right? So make sure you're not totaling yourself out.
That's a
That's
good one.
important. Don't total yourself out. D, don't total yourself out. So just back yourself down so you don't have to total yourself out. Because that's what happens. Like, you start getting like, I'm like, okay, I don't want to be raising my voice. I want to make sure I'm talking here. I want to make sure that I can maintain this space of just being quiet, being right here, right? So if you find that you're going up here, you're getting totaled out. So back yourself out.
Bring it down. Bring it. Yeah.
Bring it down. You're doing too much now. So back yourself out. So that's how I have found balance for myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are some things, I know you have mentioned kind of your happy place is around water, and that's what you plan to do this upcoming week. What are some other, I guess, ways that you get re-energized, or ways that you motivate yourself, or try to find motivation?
So that's a good question. So ways that I motivate myself are exercise. That's so important. So I'm either jumping on that Peloton or I'm in that gym trying to pump some iron. Also, I enjoy reading. People always say, you're a good writer. I say, you have not met a good writer who's not also a reader. Okay.
Mm,
So in order for me to be a good writer, I have to also be a good reader. But reading also is a way that it energizes me. It helps me to feed my own mind and soul. And so that's so important for me. So whether every day I try to find a way to read something to feed me, right? Not just my Bible, but to read something else to feed my
mm.
spirit, to feed my soul outside of I just need to read things to help me grow as a person, is to help me to be better. So I try to make a daily practice of that. I think I read an article once that said most of your successful CEOs, they read like 60 books a year.
Wow. And
So
my goal is only 12. I need to step it up, step it up. Are there any books in particular that you're reading now, or do you like tend to gravitate towards articles or?
so I tend to, yeah, I gravitate towards a lot of different things. So I'm reading, oh gosh, I apologize. My phone is ringing. Um, oh gosh, sorry. My watch, I guess my watch, it can come through my watch and you can hear it. Sorry guys. Um, so I like to read things that can help me grow in general, things that can give me knowledge. So right now, I think I have like 2 or 3 books in the hopper. I really like, there's a lot of different people I like. So I don't know. I'm
Okay.
reading at any given time. I have like 2 or 3 things going. I'm also reading a
Sounds
lot
like
of things
me.
on civil rights and history and all of that, because I feel like I want to understand our history, and
Mm,
um, so we all can get along better. I feel like all of us as a whole, the society, we're all better together. We need each other to survive. All races of people, right? We need each other. Like I tell people all the time. I tell this. I'm like, if it wasn't for white people helping with the civil rights movement, it would not have happened. So
mhm.
it's so important that people understand these things. So, you're reading through the history and trying to understand all these things that took place. So I like to read all these different things and make sure that I have a good pulse and knowledge of things that are going on in the society. Um, and yeah, so I just try to read, and I need to keep the Houston news off because I've been watching it too much lately. The drama going on in the city. So yeah, I need to keep that off. But yeah.
What would you say? I know with success, of course, comes challenges. What are
Mhm.
some of the challenges most recent that you've had to overcome?
So I think the biggest challenges to overcome with success is, for me, is the design. Like you have all these ideas, right? So I have no shortage of ideas, right? So I'm an idea magnet. So it's reeling myself in and saying, okay, but what do you really want to focus on now? So that's the biggest thing for me, is that the older I get, the better at that I get, of like
Honing
really
it down and
honing it
focusing.
honing it down and focusing and saying, okay, you only can focus on this right now. So while I have other business things that I do, not every business can be popping at the same time, right? You have to, and then
That
also
balance.
knowing how to delegate, like when, even how I delegate some projects to you, knowing when to delegate and being okay to not control everything, right?
Mm.
So I have learned that I don't need to be in control. Like I can let somebody else totally drive the car, and as long as you are not creating road rage, I'm good with it. Okay. Like I might fall asleep and let you just drive me around. Drive Miss
Nice.
Daisy. You know what I'm saying? Just drive Miss Daisy. Don't be like fighting with nobody. Just drive me in peace. Okay. I'm all
Nice.
good with that.
So a couple more general questions, and then we'll kind of get into some hot seat questions here that I did not send
Okay.
you ahead of time. So,
Oh Lord.
ooh.
Okay.
um, what if you like? What advice kind of would you give to a young artist or just a young business owner to keep them, I guess, inspired or just words of advice?
Great question. So, what advice for young artists and young business owners? Number one is to follow your passions, right? Don't worry about what other people around you are doing. Follow your passions and your path, right? So,
Mm,
your gifts create room for you. So follow your gifts and your passion. Okay. You know, they say where the money resides. No, your money is where your gifts reside, boo. So follow
Mm.
your gifts and your money will be there too, guaranteed. So just do you, and there's plenty of room for it, right? And there's also, never be afraid to help other people, because when you help other people, you don't know what kind of opportunities you're creating for yourself by helping other people, right? You don't help other people to create opportunities for yourself. You do it because it's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think so many times right now, our young people are afraid of helping someone else because they're like, oh my God, if I help them, they might get further ahead than me. Don't worry about that. If you help someone else do what they need to do, you're going to get to where you need to get as well. So
Mm.
I just say, follow your passions and your dreams. That's the most important thing. Don't try to be on anyone else's lane. Do your lane. Like I just feel like I've learned a long time ago. I knew I was a good writer, and I knew that I'm good at creating things, right? Whether it's creating things in my kitchen or creating things in my lab, I'm good at that. So I have to be on those paths. Those are the
Mm.
things that I'm good at. So if I'm trying to see that, okay, Kendra's good at, doing X, Y, Z, and I'm trying to jump in her lane, in her space, I may not be as successful because I'm trying to jump in her space. But if I stay on the places where I'm good at, that'll be good for me.
Nice. Loving it, loving it. So what would you tell, I guess, kind of along the same path? What if you could go back and just speak to, like, I don't know, your 18-year-old self, what would you tell her?
Oh, that's a good question. So my 18-year-old self is something I feel that I um, am always, or I was always seeking when I was younger, is validation, right?
Mm.
Now I don't feel like I need that validation so much, right? I feel like I I don't need so much validation anymore. And I would tell my 18-year-old self, don't worry about it. Just go ahead and just keep going. If you mess up, no big deal. It's going to be okay. We all mess up. We all make mistakes. So yeah.
Okay. What are some things that you're looking forward to? Some
What are
besides your birthday, I guess, kind of centered around the two businesses. Any like upcoming projects, or I know you have mentioned the series. We already talked about that. You kind of gave a small hint. You threw it in there, that the app. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So did you want me to read one of the affirmations out?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
From today, I
So
really like that one from today. If you
you
if you
like the one
can,
from today?
I
Okay.
do. Yeah.
So, as we mentioned earlier, so it is in you. The app is going to come soon. So I have someone working on that for me. Should be out by the end of September. So
Delegation, right there.
here is the affirmation from today, and I'll read it. And it says, I lost my screen. Let me pop it back up here. It says, today I affirm that letting go is a dynamic process that I can never complete. So I must be willing to let go of what doesn't serve me to acquire what can and will. God is always guiding me towards love, and he moves to alter my perception. So that's atonement. I recognize I have not reached the apex until I am out of my comfort zone. Leaving my place of comfort is where I grow, evolve, and develop. I am committed to my personal development first, then to influence the development of those connected to me. My destiny is rich, and I am living out what I was created to do. And it is so, and so is my life. Amen.
Amen.
So that's just one of the examples of the affirmations that are sent daily. If you're interested in these affirmations and you happen to be listening in on this live today, or if you listen back and you like this, then text one of us or hit us up on the live, and we'll make sure that we add you to the communications until the app comes out.
Nice.
So one of the things I'm looking forward to is getting this app up and going and being able to communicate with people in a different way, because I feel like there's a bigger purpose for me to speak into people's lives in a different way. So one of the other things that will come on the app is called Wow Words of Wisdom. So it'll be an opportunity where if someone's sitting at home at night and they're going through a depression, they can call in and speak to someone and get words of wisdom.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
They
You
can go
see,
in for advice and
that's
speak to
nice.
someone and get words of wisdom, words of comfort. If they got issues with they boo, they can call up and get some words of wisdom from someone who will be available to help them with that. So really excited about this app coming to fruition and all that it will offer. Coming out of the pandemic, I have a very good friend. I don't even know if he's on the live. He could be. I don't know if he's on here tonight. He is a psychiatrist, and he did a paper for his company about the mental health impact of this pandemic, and it is alarming. When I read the paper, I was like, oh my goodness. So this is part of an answer to some of that. Of course, it's not providing therapy, but it's providing comfort.
Mm. Which
Because
we
as
all
the
could use, right?
Yes, we all can use and we all can provide in different ways, right? And so it'll be like trained coaches that will be available to provide that. So I'm looking
That's
forward to that.
exciting.
hmm I'm looking forward to having that tool available in that capacity.
Awesome. Awesome.
hmm
Well, definitely, well, I'll post all of your social, and then we'll talk about that also at the end, so they can kind of follow along on that journey as well, because it's definitely needed, much so much. I mean, before pandemic, but obviously so much more now. So,
hmm
and for sure, if you guys are interested, the affirmations that come on my phone each morning, I'm like, yes, yes. Definitely. I'm like, how do you I would run out of things to think about, but you're just full of life. So
So some people ask me like, how do you come up with these affirmations? So a lot of it is birth out of conversations with people. Okay. So it could be a conversation that I have with someone, and that will birth an affirmation. Okay.
wow,
So it'll be a
I
conversation
think
that I'm
that's a
having
gift
with,
right there. Like like
yeah.
not
I'll,
everybody can do that.
I'll have a conversation with
Talk about
somebody about
using your gifts.
something, and I'll have one little thing down that I'll put a note in my phone about. And I'm like, okay. And I'll write a whole affirmation around it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Talk about using your gifts right there. For sure.
Yeah.
All right. So, right now we have a 9 minutes left about, but we are going to get into the hot seat questions. Are you ready?
Sure.
You don't look
I
so
don't know why
excited. No,
I don't
just
know what I'm
kidding.
saying yes to, but I'm
It
like,
won't be.
okay.
It will be easy peasy, right? All right. So I have 8 questions, and then we'll wrap up with talking about how people can follow your business pages and then just your journey. So, question number one. We have been talking about advice, and you talked about the advice that you would give your younger self, and then also to up and coming artists. What it has been the best piece of advice that you've personally received?
Mm. The best piece of advice that I ever received. Hmm. I think the best piece of advice that I've ever received was to simply follow my passions in life. Okay. And I know that's going to sound cliche, but that has been the best advice that I've ever received, is to follow my passions and to not allow my what I was born into to define what I can um, purpose into or go into. So
Mm,
basically, what I'm saying is that my um, my pedigree or where I started in life doesn't have to be where I finish in life. And so I feel like that's the best advice I've ever been given, because I think so many times we get stuck
mm,
and we can start thinking like ball home bog. Okay, like can this even get better? This is like, this is how my life was. This is how my family is. This is how my mom is or my dad is, whatever. You know, we don't have to accept any of that. We can create our own life, our own realm of
mhm.
existence. And so I feel like that's the best advice that I've ever been given. And it came from a former pastor. So it was the best advice, let your passions drive you, and what you were born into doesn't define you. You get to define, you're basically who God created you to be is who you are. Now you have to choose to walk that out.
Mm.
So.
Amen. Amen. We're done. No, I'm just kidding. Something weird or different that you recommend everyone try at least once.
Something weird or different that I recommend everybody tries at least once. Something weird or different.
It could be a food, an experience, I don't know, a game.
What's the most weirdest or different
You're like, I got you stumped.
Experience? You've got me stumped here. What's the most weirdest thing I've ever done, or the most different thing? I think the thing that we all should do, and this is something that I am kind of getting into this space right now. I think something that's different for us, especially in this society that we're in over here in America, right? Because we are definitely carnivorous. I feel like we should all go vegan for at least a day. Okay.
Okay.
I
A
did
day?
this
No,
before.
we could challenge them for a week at least.
Well, see, you're vegan, so that's not.
No, not anymore. Not anymore. I gave up my card. No.
Oh my. Yeah, so I think you have to try it for at least, I've tried it before for a day. Well, interesting enough, I pretty much only eat fish anyhow. I don't eat a lot of meat. I eat a little bit of chicken and poultry here and there. But I feel like you have to give that a try. Weird foods that I've ate before. Like I have never eaten kimchi, even though my dad likes it. I've never eaten anything like that. Weird experiences.
No, it was just either or. I was just giving you ideas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think going vegan. I think that's
Going vegan. Okay.
That's the thing that everybody should try. Yeah, I think it's good for us for a day. Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay. I second that. I second that. But I'm saying a week at least. Huh?
Why'd you leave it? Why'd you stop being vegan?
Well, when I went to Paraguay, I like wanted to blend in more because they eat meat like all the time. So, yeah, I didn't want to just be like, "Oh no, I don't eat meat." That would have not been good for all the family barbecues.
Oh, okay. So you had to, you had to
But now I'm
assimilate.
back here and I'm still eating meat. So, I mean, my main purpose for being vegan though was not like it was just kind of a self-test, and I felt better, honestly. My skin was better, so maybe I need to try it out again. We'll see.
Your skin looks good still. That's funny.
If you had to create a new dance move, what would it be and what would you call it?
Oh my gosh. If I had to create a new dance move, what would it be and what would I call it?
And if you're feeling real silly, you could just show us.
I'll just let that one ride again. The swim.
The swim. Okay, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Hey, you said you were going to water this week, so hey, you're already prepared. You could be.
I'm just letting y'all do the swim or the scuba.
Nice.
I'm sorry, the scuba.
The scuba. Okay. Nice. You're silly. All right. Question number 4. What are some options you would come up with if every person you met had like a right click? What are some options you would come up with for them?
If every person I met had a right click?
Yeah, so you know how you like right click on the computer and it's like open window, save. So if you could do that with people, like I don't know, what would you be able to like if you could see that for every person? What like two options would you want to have for each person?
Ooh, wow, that's a good one. 2 options if I could have for every person, it would be wow. If I had a right click, maybe it would be mind reading would be one. The other option would be I would put a filter that said no judgment zone, because I think so often in life we judge each other by what we see on the exterior of
Mm,
people, right? So if I could put a filter that stopped the judgment zone that we all did to each other, because we all have unconscious biases,
for
no
sure.
matter who we are. Black people have them, white people have them, Asian people, we all got unconscious biases. We just have to admit that we have them. We all have them.
Hmm.
Studies show it. Okay. So I would create the right click that had, yeah, no judgment zone and mind reading.
I love it. I love it.
Mhm.
Can we actually make this into fruition somehow? The next question. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So this is a light, fun one. Are you a TP under or TP over kind of person, or does it not matter?
It doesn't matter to me. However, the role comes out and I put it in there. In fact, this is so funny. Like
Thank
my
you. This is like a win. I feel like I thought I was the only person that it just doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Like, however I put that role in there, and that's how it goes in there. Like, I don't care. I mean, I really don't care if it's TP under or over. I feel like that's just, there are bigger first world problems to solve than that one,
For
people.
sure.
Right?
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm right with you. I'm right with you.
Yeah.
Some
Hmm.
people they like, they'll change it. They'll yeah.
But
It's
now that
it's
toilet seat has to be down to keep those germs inside.
oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I
All
gotta
toilet
get
seats
better
have
by
to be
that
down.
one, honestly, but I'm with you.
All toilet seats have to be down in my house.
You're funny. Okay, so a couple more. We got three more. We're right on. Well, we're on time. It's 7, but we'll run a little over since we got started a few minutes late. Um, last three. Um, an amusement park is designed to make you happy. How would it look?
And so if I design my own amusement park,
Yeah, or if you yeah,
mm,
or some you had someone design you one. Like it would be something
oh,
to make you happy.
okay, so something to make me happy at an amusement park. So I'm not a big rides person. Like I am not a roller coaster person, especially after what I saw recently where a
No, I don't want to
mom
hear it. No, just kidding.
and a kid were killed like on a raft ride. I've gone on those water rides before. Thank you, Jesus, that I
Mm,
survived. But yeah, I would probably maybe those things that people pedal around on, like those street rides, everybody's pedaling and they're drinking their beer.
oh
Maybe
yeah.
do one of those with wine.
Okay, okay.
I think
Hey,
that's a
I'm
good
gonna have
one
to
with
see if they have
wine.
that somewhere in Houston. You never know. It
With
might be a
with
wine.
wine.
Yeah.
Put some wine on there. Nope, I don't need no beer, but just a little wine, just so you can go home and just clunk right on out. But
Okay.
some wine. I think another thing with the amusement park is just like some games, like people can play Uno, or they can play some nice board games and just kind of talk to strangers. I like meeting people from different cultures and things. See how people are
Hmm.
living and what they doing. People from around the world, talking to people. I love talking to people from different countries and different areas. That whole thing. I feel like it's so
Okay.
cool talking to people from around the world. So that's what my
I,
amusement park would have.
I like it. All right. Last two questions. These are pretty easy. Favorite food?
Hmm. My favorite food. I am a taco girl. Like I have this whole love affair with tacos. I know, like I do like tacos, fish tacos in particular. Rubio's fish tacos in California are the best. So I do
Fish
like fish
tacos.
tacos. Yeah, like I have a thing for some good old fish tacos. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Hmm.
Do you like because fish tacos come with like the cabbage and carrots, right?
Oh yeah, I like cabbage and a little bit of aioli, like a good aioli, a nice little
Okay.
homemade aioli with
I'm
just
getting
just
hungry.
a, just a teeny bit of just a teeny bit of spice, but not overdone because I can't do too much spice these days, but just a little.
Okay. And then last question on the hot seat is your favorite quote
Oh, my favorite quote. Um,
or expression, saying, anything along those lines.
I think okay, so the thing that I say a lot, and I used to say this to my oldest son all the time, and he'll say, I used to say to him all the time when he was growing up, I was like, stand up straight, no man can ride your back. So I really believe that often, is that if you stand up straight, no one can ride your back. So just talks about
I've
being
never heard that before.
yeah, that's a Dr. King quote. That's one. I also like Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. That quote was actually by Nelson Mandela. So I like that quote. That's one of my favorites as well. And then another quote that I like is that tools of the are excuses are tools of the incompetent, and those who use them seldom amount to anything more or anything else. So I like that. There's different renditions on that quote.
Okay.
Right. And then I have my own little quote, and people who know me know this. I always say, work your corner. Get on your corner and work it. That's what life's about. Life's all about working your own corner.
Staying in that lane once again, right?
Getting on your corner and working it. You got your stop sign out, work your corner.
Nice. You are funny.
Everybody gets to work their own corner.
Why? It definitely has been a pleasure. I've learned, even some things I didn't know before. So I'm really thankful for the chat today. I will be, of course, posting your pages and everything in the description after the video. But if you could just tell people who are interested in learning more about you, your journey, and then also about the businesses where they could find you, follow you, purchase, all that good stuff.
Sure. So you can follow me on Instagram at it's in you living on Instagram, and also you can find my products on anecdotenaturals.com. You can also find more information about the brand at courageousme.net. So all that's there. If you are interested in the affirmations, we read one earlier. And as we mentioned, the app will come out in September. Just drop us a note on this live or this feed if you're watching it back, and we will be sure to add you. You'll probably need to DM us your phone number, and we will add you to our distribution for the affirmations that come out typically at least 3 times a week, sometimes more. It just depends on what's going on with the schedule. But the app should be out sometime by the end of September, I believe.
Nice. Awesome. Well, once again, thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing you. Everyone, tell Misty a happy early birthday. Have a good weekend, and we'll definitely be in touch. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, Kendra. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.